We need to talk about AI, but probably not in the way you're thinking, because there's a huge story taking shape for 2026 and almost nobody is paying attention. What if I told you the biggest AI winners of 2026 don't even own a computer? They own the power lines. Wall Street is obsessed with a myth, the AI Pac-Man. They think digital software is going to gobble up entire industries, leaving them in the dust. But everyone is missing what powers this machine. AI doesn't run on fancy code, it runs on brute force power. Electricity is the oxygen for AI. You cut it off and the whole thing suffocates. This surge in demand is setting the stage for the biggest story of the decade, the coming power crunch.
Okay, we need to talk about AI, but probably not in the way you're thinking, because there's this huge story taking shape for 2026, and almost nobody is paying attention to it. What if I told you the biggest AI winners of 2026 don't even own a computer? They own the power lines. Stick with me here, because this one idea, it could totally change how you see the entire AI revolution. You see, right now, Wall Street is absolutely obsessed with this one story. A myth, really, and it's creating this massive, massive distortion in the market. They're calling it the AI Pac-Man myth. Think about it. When you hear AI, where does your mind go? Probably straight to software, right? You're thinking of cool apps, chatbots, all those smart algorithms. And look, you're not wrong, but you're only seeing half the picture. The less important half, actually. Morgan Stanley just hit the nail on the head with this phrase, an AI Pac-Man moment. The whole idea is that this giant digital mouth is just going to gobble up entire industries, one after another, leaving them in the dust.
And this fear, it has very real consequences. It's kicking off a full-blown panic. I mean, you've got investors dumping incredible, profitable companies for pennies on the dollar, all because they're terrified they're about to get AI out of existence.
But here's the twist, the part almost everyone is missing. What is actually powering this ghost-eating machine?
And this brings us to the part nobody seems to be talking about, the AI energy nexus. It's this simple, non-negotiable truth that AI, it doesn't run on fancy code. It runs on raw, brute force power, and a lot of it. Seriously, think of electricity as the oxygen for AI. You cut it off, and the whole thing just suffocates.
And this right here is where that popular story just completely falls apart. So let's take a look at AI's hidden and absolutely insane appetite.
So you've got the big players, right? Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta. They're not just in a coding war. No, they are in a physical resource war. They're throwing hundreds of billions of dollars in CapEx, scrambling to get the chips, build out the data centers, and, this is the key part, lock down the electricity to power it all.
And hey, this isn't some far-off prediction. It is happening right now. Just look at this data from Bank of America. Global electricity demand growth, it almost doubled in just 1 year. That's not a tiny blip on the radar, folks. That is the starting gun for a massive structural shift in our economy. And AI is the one pulling the trigger.
Okay, so this huge surge in demand, it's setting the stage for one of the biggest economic stories of the next decade, what I'm calling the coming power crunch.
So let me ask you this. Think about all the new power generation we're building. Solar farms, wind turbines, all of it. By 2030, what percentage of all that new electricity do you think is going to be eaten up by data centers alone? Just take a guess. The answer, according to the International Energy Agency, is just staggering. More than 20%. Let that sink in for a second. 1 out of every 5 new megawatts of power generated in the developed world is going to go straight into feeding AI.
And to really get how wild that is, you need some context. This explosion in demand is coming after decades. Decades where power consumption in these countries was basically flat. AI is single-handedly reversing a 30-year trend. It's unbelievable.
So, you know that old saying about a gold rush, right? Who really gets rich? It's usually not the miners frantically digging for gold. It's the folks selling the picks, the shovels, the supplies. Well, in this AI gold rush, the picks and shovels, they look a whole lot like power lines. So this leaves us with 2 very, very different ways to look at the AI boom. You can chase the software ghosts, the apps, the models, which frankly is what most of the market is doing, or you can focus on the machine, the actual physical infrastructure that makes any of it possible in the first place.
We always talk about AI carrying the weight of the world's problems. Fixing inflation, boosting productivity, all that. But what we forget is that it's also carrying a literal, physical weight. The weight of all those data centers, power plants, and thousands upon thousands of miles of copper wire.
And this gets us right back to that huge inefficiency in the market. Because of this whole Pac-Man myth, like Morgan Stanley points out, investors are literally dumping highly profitable companies in a panic, while at the same time, they're bidding up less profitable ones just because they fit that popular AI story.
So here it is, the billion-dollar question. Is the market so completely hypnotized by the digital ghosts of AI that it's just totally ignoring the physical machine that's bringing them to life?
And this opens up what I believe could be the single defining investment theme for 2026, the physical asset play. And we're not just talking about one thing here. It's an entire ecosystem.
The opportunity is spread out all over the place. It's a whole ecosystem. We're talking about power generation, right? And companies that are all about energy efficiency. We're talking about the folks who build the data center infrastructure, the companies that operate our electrical grids and transport that power. And yeah, even the miners digging up the critical minerals and raw materials that are literally the building blocks of this whole revolution.
And look, if you need any more proof, just follow the money. The leaders of this software revolution, we're talking Zuckerberg, Nadella, the guys at Google, they are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into building out this exact physical infrastructure. Now, why would they do that? Because they know. They know the AI race can't be won with just code.
So as we're all looking ahead to 2026, maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Maybe the most important question isn't which AI software company is going to win, but instead, who is going to power them all? Because let's be real, without the physical world of power plants and copper wires, that shiny digital world of AI, it just goes dark. And that right there might just be the most profitable secret hiding in plain sight.
Secure your edge. Click subscribe to master the professional side of the trade.